Okay, there we go. So welcome everyone to our Yoga for Wellness practice this afternoon. And because we're coming up on Thanksgiving, here in Canada anyway, I thought we would focus our class today a lot on the concept of what that would mean to our health if we celebrated Thanksgiving in the deepest sense. So taking some time to settle into your mat. And begin to connect with the feeling of the earth being beneath you. And notice the areas in your body that make contact with the earth. Wonderful. And as you begin to really sense the support of the earth beneath you, begin to allow yourself to really relax into that support. This is something that you can really kind of count on in our world. This is where the earth is going to be for you. And this relationship we have with the earth really shapes all of our experience throughout our lives. We're going to explore that a lot in some of our postures today. So we're lying down on our backs, knees bent, feet on the floor in a constructed rest position. And we're just taking a little bit of time to connect with the support from the earth. I'm going to come into movement very shortly. I just wanted you to have a chance to drop away all of the busyness of the day, all of the things that you've been focusing on, and have a chance to center in a little bit more on your own experience. So often our days are spent trying to make other people more comfortable or do things for other people. I think one of the things that I want to look at today in our practice focused on gratitude and Thanksgiving is how much is already really good, or how much is already really perfect about our world. I tend to be a planner in my mind, and I'm always looking for holes, loopholes, things that have to be fixed, things that could be better. And I find myself really being very hard on myself that I could have gone better, I could have done better. So today in our practice, we want to really look at what's already working very well and already quite perfect. So we're lying down on our backs, knees bent, feet on the floor, letting your spine rest for a moment, and then really noticing what is good. And that might be the connection that you make with the earth. What else is really good is that you're breathing. It's not that good if you're not breathing, if you want to be on earth anyway. So it's really wonderful that the breath is starting to flow maybe a little bit more easily for you. Let's come into a little opening kind of vinyasa here. So again, we're laying on our backs, knees bent, feet on the floor. And the first time we go through this, I won't worry about breathing. And then I'd like to weave in the breathing with this. So let's start with your right leg, just arbitrarily your right leg, and drop the knee out to the side. So your knee is falling out to the side. Good. Now, if you can, straighten your leg out so that the foot is, actually, let's do this the other way. Bring your knee back up towards the center. So it's facing up towards the ceiling. Sorry, I changed my mind. Good. And let's take the heel now and push the heel down the mat so that your right leg is straight. Now turn your knee out to the side. So leg straight first. Now turn your leg out and then bend your knee up so the outside of your leg is sliding up the mat as you bend the knee out to the side. Then lift the knee up, towards your body and point it over a bit towards the left shoulder. So your thigh bone is doing a bit of an internal rotation. You see how we did that? I'll go through it one more time because I was deliberately confusing everybody, I think. So let's take your right leg, straighten it out flat on the floor. Roll the leg bone outward. So the knee is now pointing out to the side of your mat. Now leave the leg on the floor as you bend the knee, and the knee will be facing out to the side. It's like a reclining tree pose all of a sudden almost. And then lift the leg up from the floor, bring it your knee closer into your body and point it over towards the left shoulder just a little bit. So it's kind of moving across your body a little bit, and then set the foot back on the floor. So we've done like a whole big circle with the leg. So let's start timing that with breath. Inhale, stretch the leg out. Exhale, externally rotate and point the knee out to the side. Keep lifting the knee towards your chest, point it to the left shoulder. And then inhale, drop the foot and stretch the leg back out. And let's do 3 more leisurely circles like that. So the leg stretches out as you inhale and bends out and around across the chest as you exhale. Good. Just a nice big leg circle there. And when we've done a total of 5 with the right leg, let's come back to constructed rest. Find stillness again. And for a moment, before we move into this movement on the other side, and you know what's coming now, take a moment to see if you can internally sense the connection of the right thigh bone into the hip socket, where your leg joins your body. And just imagine, if you can, that beautiful round top to the leg bone that's been gliding and sliding around in the cup of the hip socket. And just kind of think about that miracle for a moment. That leg bone in its raw state can actually go in a 360-degree arc around, giving you this wonderful strength and mobility in your hip joint. So regardless of how we feel about our hips, isn't that wonderful? Let's try the left leg. So when you're ready to inhale, you're going to stretch the left leg out on the floor. Then roll the leg out and start to bend the knee out to the side. You're exhaling now. The knee lifts up, crosses over the body towards the right shoulder. And then as you inhale, you drop the leg and stretch it back out. So try to make a nice smooth inhale and exhale as you make a nice smooth open circle with your leg. Let's do that a total of 5 times on the left as well. And then let your feet come back to the floor, back to the constructed rest position. And again, internally drop into the left hip joint and just take a moment to appreciate how amazing that is to be able to do that with your leg. Now, the hip joints and shoulder joints are very similar in a lot of ways. So we're going to do a similar sort of movement with the arms. Let's start with the right arm. So as you inhale, stretch the right arm along the floor. And then as you exhale, externally rotate the right arm, which means you're going to turn the palm up, the elbow backwards, and then bend the elbow a little bit as you trace all the way back behind your head as far as you can on the floor. And then inhale, lift the arm and stretch it back down along to your side. So as you exhale, externally rotate, bend the elbow, the arm travels up the floor beside you. And then as you inhale, the arm comes back down to your side. So you're doing this opening of the arm bone in the shoulder socket. And then when you lift the arm and bring it back down to your side, the arm bone kind of faces in the opposite direction. Let's do a total of 5 with the right arm. And then let both arms rest at your side. Take a moment, if you can, to internally visualize now the right arm bone, we call it the humerus, and it fits into the shoulder socket very similarly to how the leg fits into the body. And just think of that, a miracle that you're able to wave your arms in all these different directions. Again, a standard range of motion is almost a 360-degree arc in a perfect world. And your arms are so amazing. They allow you to express yourself in so many different ways. Let's start with the left arm. So as you inhale, you're going to stretch out, externally rotate. And then as you exhale now, bend the elbow, bring the arm up along the floor until you can't lift the elbow up on the floor anymore. And then bring the arm back down to your side as you inhale, and then externally rotate, and then bend your elbow as you exhale and take the arm up. So the range of motion, we don't want to force anything. We don't want to create any clicking or uncomfortable sensations if possible in the shoulder, but we are celebrating the mobility of your shoulder joint as it presents this afternoon. And when you've done a total of 5 in the left arm, let's let both arms rest at your sides. You may notice that even the curvature in your spine has responded a little bit to the lubricating of the hip joint and the lubricating of the shoulder joints. Let's roll over to our sides and press up from the floor and come to table pose. So for my friends that prefer not to put weight on the knees, know that the option is always here of using a chair for table pose. Today I'm going to be on the floor with my knees, so I've got some padding. We'll look a little bit more at that lubrication. Let me take off my sweater so the movements of the spine are a bit more obvious. So when you're ready, we'll come into something that starts very much like a cat-cow. So inhale, extend the spine, and exhale, begin to arch out the back. Make this a modest movement at first. So you're not really exploiting your full range of motion in this side of the movement or on this side of the movement. This is just a gentle waving of the spine to start lubricating the segments of the spine. Make sure that you keep your shoulders more or less over your wrists with a little tiny bend in the elbow. And if you are standing on your feet to do this with the chair, you might need to do the same thing with your knees, because elbows and knees are kind of cousins. Now, once you feel that the spine is getting more lubricated, we can exaggerate this movement a little bit. So maybe drawing the chest even more forward of the arms. And then as you exhale, really tuck the belly up into the spine and use that leverage from the belly to pull yourself back into kind of a half prayer pose. Keep the elbows really soft as you're moving forward and back, creating almost a wheel-like action with the spine. And we want to make sure all joints are soft when you do this. So especially not locking the elbows. And if you're standing, especially not locking the knees. Let's take 2 more breaths. In some traditions, they call this Chakravakasana, which means ready goose pose. Never really understood that, I guess. And then from here, let's make our way up to a standing position. I'm going to clear off my mat for props so I'm not too interrupted with my flow. Let's find mountain pose. And once again, return to our awareness of where the earth is and how much we can count on that. We're going to take a couple of the movements that we were doing from lying down and repeat them now that we're in a standing position. Your relationship to your joints changes when you have to deal with being further away from where gravity pulls on your body. So this is where some of our old patterning, we can start to unwind it when we're laying on the ground, and then we stand up and we go right back into these postural habits. So let's play a little bit with the same movement. So you may want to have a chair handy so you can have your hand on the back of the chair if balance is a bit of an issue for you. Make sure you've established a nice symmetrical mountain pose as best as you can before starting. Let's go with the right leg again. So we'll inhale with the right leg straight. As we exhale, we're going to rotate the knee out to the side and bring it across the body, pointed a bit towards the left shoulder, and then inhale back into mountain pose. Exhale. and inhale. I don't know if you're noticing this, but it's very interesting for me to watch my hands try to do all the movements. So there's some postural miswiring, why my fingers feel like they have a big job to do here, I'm not sure. So you can always have this hand on a chair back or the wall if balance is a bit of an issue. But what we're really looking to celebrate here is the ability of your leg bone to roll around in the hip socket like this. Now I've done 5 on this side, so that's adequate. If I come back to mountain pose, it gives me a chance to really internally thank this hip socket, this thigh bone, and how it's gliding around to give me this wonderful ability. When you're ready, we can go to the other side. Inhaling here, exhaling, and inhaling. So try to move in concert with your breath. And if you're using the chair to help you with balance, you might have moved it to the other side of you by now. And if you're not using a chair, this is really causing you to have to really focus, because balancing on one leg requires a lot of brain power. Wonderful. And then let's come back to our mountain pose after you've done 5 with the left leg. You may find that your relationship with gravity is starting to change as you really get into the strength and mobility of your joints. Let's try the movement with the arms. Inhale, exhale, and inhale. Exhale, and inhale. And which way you breathe really doesn't make a lot of difference, really. So if you find yourself inhaling when I'm saying exhale, don't worry about it. Our focus is really about celebrating what's going on between the arm bone and the rest of your body. Isn't that wonderful? And after you've done 5 with the right arm, we'll come back to mountain pose, hold the stationary position for a moment. So sometimes in our yoga practice, if we're really concerned about creating a special shape, like say Warrior 2, we don't have a chance to really think about what's happening in each one of the joints because we're so busy trying to hold that big posture. So sometimes it's nice to break things down. Inhaling, exhaling, and then inhaling. Again, we want to be working in a range of motion that's comfortable for you. It doesn't cause you to have clicking or clunking or other painful sorts of things happening in your shoulder. We're being very respectful of our joints in this practice today because we're very, very grateful for them. At least I am. And that's 5 for me on that second side. So I'm back into mountain pose. Take a breath in and out. Okay, so you may wish to bring the blanket back for underneath your knees. We do a little bit of work that includes lunge, and the version of lunge that I'm going to show includes dropping a knee onto the ground. If you prefer not to weight bear on your knees, have your chair handy, and when we're doing knee down lunge, you can be doing a lunge more like this. Okay? So let's come towards the top of the mat, recreate your mountain pose. I'm going to come into something that I used to teach about 10 years ago, a lot more than I do now. And it's a very heart-centered sun salutation variation. So from mountain pose, let's bring our hands together at the heart. This gesture today could continue to remind us that we want to try to recognize the little miracles in everyday life, like the way our hips move, the way our shoulders move, and really bring that gratitude and that awareness of miracles into the movements and breath we share this afternoon. So when you're ready, as you inhale, externally rotate and lift your arms up again like you did in the warm-up. Exhale, soften and forward fold. Inhale, lead with the heart as you come into a half lift. And as you exhale, step the right leg towards the back of the mat. Those of us who feel comfortable weight bearing on the knee can drop the knee. Just make sure that the lower leg is moving straight back from the knee, that your lower leg isn't like sickled off to an angle. Another point is to make sure that the front knee is over top of the ankle, facing in the same direction as these front toes. So some of us may have to take a moment extra to get adjusted into this safer alignment. You may find it easier to have a chair or a couple yoga blocks here at the front of your mat so that you don't have to reach all the way to the floor. So those are things we can get organized now. My friends who are staying on the chair and not putting their knee down, you're in this shape as I demonstrated it earlier. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and lift the arms out to the side, soft bend in the elbows. Now we're going to move with the breath in a moment. I just want to try to get us set up to really enjoy this. As you come into this movement, try not to just dump the hips and really crunch into the low back. I know it's heart opening, but at the expense of everything else. And your heart really doesn't want you to do that. So keep a lot of awareness in the legs. Push both legs into gravity. So your gravity is there to help us. So push both legs down into gravity, push the tailbone and the sacrum down into gravity, and really feel as though you're taking the two front bones here at the front of your pelvis, affectionately called bumper bones, and you're knitting them towards each other. So there's a little bit of a sling being kind of velcroed around this part of your body so that it doesn't really just collapse. There's a bouncing back effect from gravity, like you're bouncing a basketball, that's allowing you to really get into the movement, but not to just let your bones collapse into gravity. Then from there, you can inhale and do your beautiful heart opening, but you're really confident and strong in the lower part of your body. So take a big inhale here, and then we'll exhale. We'll bring the hands back to the ground and bring the knees together. Now, my friends that are using the chair, just step back into a modified downward facing dog, which is hands on the chair, legs pulled back, hips lifting. For my friends that are on the ground, you may choose to do a lower version of that posture, which I often call prayer pose. Or if it's been an active day and you feel well about this, you're welcome to take a downward facing dog. When we get here, we'll be staying here for a complete breath. And then we're going to come into the pose on the other side. So it might make sense to drop the legs and to pull the foot forward to find lunge on the other side. When you have your hands up on the chair or blocks, there's a lot more room to do that movement. And then we're going to set this up exactly the same way on this side. So press your feet down, your leg, your feet, whatever's touching the floor, press your legs down into the ground, root down through the sacrum and tailbone, and pull in with the two bumper bones. This creates a good foundation. So you're not sinking your bones into gravity. You're not collapsing, but you're feeling that little bit of bounce come back up. And then open the arms, lift the heart, celebrate being you in this moment. Then there's going to be a big movement on the next exhale. So we're going to be tucking the back toes, pulling the feet together, and coming into forward fold again. Inhale, lift up, celebrate life, and then exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, let's try that one round. We'll lead with the left leg this time just to balance it out in time with the breath, and then we might add a little something on. So for mountain pose, hands come together at the heart if you choose to remind yourself of this practice of gratitude. And then when you're ready, inhale, lifting up, exhale, saluting to the earth, giving into gravity a little bit here. Inhale, lift the chest, lead with the heart, not the head. And exhale, lower down, and we'll drop back the left leg into that lunge. Remember to tighten up. Inhale, lift and celebrate this wonderful heart. Exhale, hands to the chair or the floor, and push back into your prayer variation. Take down dog here if it suits you. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, we'll be bringing the back foot forward and finding lunge. Remember on your exhale to really use your legs, push them into the ground, and use the core integration we've been working on. Inhale, celebrate your heart. Here's a big step forward as you exhale into forward fold. And then inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. So if at any point, if I'm going too fast for you, especially if you have a chair handy, know that you can take a break by sitting in the chair. You can take a break by choosing child's pose for a few extra breaths. Heck, go right to Shavasana. Be grateful for Shavasana today. I'm going to add a little spice into this. If you prefer not to do the extra additions, just stick with what we've already been practicing. So I'm just going to face you so you can see this movement a little bit better, but you stay facing the front of your mat. From hands at the heart, inhale, lift up, and then see if it's possible to exhale and lean to the right, creating a half moon shape. Inhale, lengthen your body towards the sun, and exhale, create the same half moon shape to the second side. Inhale, lift up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up, extend the heart way forward of the brain. Exhale, forward fold, and step the right leg back and find your lunge. Push into the legs as you lift up and inhale. And then exhale, finding your table pose and pushing back into prayer, down dog. You can modify the down dog with the chair as I showed earlier. And after you've done a full inhale and exhale here, let's step the right foot forward into lunge. Take a moment to make sure you're pressing the legs into the ground, and on your next inhale, celebrate life. Exhale, big movement as you step forward and forward fold. And inhale, lift. And exhale, hands to the heart. Let's move right into the other half of this heartfelt salutation. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, lean to the left first this time. We're going to lean to the other side on the exhale. No, you could drop your hands to your waist if lifting your arms up this much doesn't feel very good. Inhale to center. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, we're going to lead with the left leg. Now I'm showing the chair option here today. On your next inhale, after stabilizing the whole lower body, lift the heart. Exhale, hands down, and step back into your down dog, your prayer pose. Inhale and exhale deeply. And on your next inhale, we'll be stepping the left foot forward to find our lunge. Remember, we want the front knee over the ankle, back leg straight back. On your next inhale, a heartfelt opening. Exhale, big step up as you forward fold. And inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart. So I'm going to add a little bit more spice into our kind of heart-centered lunge. If this doesn't work for you, just stay in the posture immediately previous or go right to the next posture after this if that makes you feel more comfortable. So I'll mention to you when we're going to insert the next few new postures. I'll say, now you can stay here, or you can go back to what we just did, or you can move forward to such and such. So it'll make more sense, I hope, in a moment. So from the front of your mat, hands together at the heart. Inhale, lengthen the body. Exhale, half moon stretch to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, half moon stretch to the left. Remember, hands could have been on the hips here. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, demonstrating to the universe that we're willing to lead with our heart right now. Exhale, step back with the right leg. Drop the knee if you can. Press into the ground. Inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, take your arms so that the elbows bend, hands on the shoulders, and give yourself a rotation towards the bent knee. So we're going to do that over a couple breaths, kind of really warming the trunk. This is what it might look like if you're using the chair. Good. And after we've done about 5 breaths, let's inhale one last time right here in the center. Exhale to your down dog or to your prayer pose. Staying here for a good breath in, a long breath out. And then we're bringing the right foot forward into lunge, stabilizing our core. Inhale and exhale. Keep the elbows wide apart. Keep the collarbones wide, even when you come into the rotation. So whether you're doing the standing version with the chair or the kneeling version as I'm demonstrating, you're really working a lot of rib cage action into this. One more breath. Wonderful. And then we'll inhale the good old-fashioned way, and then exhale, stepping big step to forward fold. Inhale, lift all the way up, and exhale, hands to the heart. Let's move right into the second side. Again, maybe I'll add a little spice. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the left leg back. Now, what if you kept your back knee up this time? That might not work. You might prefer to have the knee on the ground, but what would happen there? Inhale, take that beautiful heart first lunge. And again, you can stay here. You can go to child's pose or down dog and wait for us there. Or you can bring the hands together at the heart. You can inhale, lift up a little longer with the spine. And as you exhale, do that twist. And then, of course, there's always the option of dropping that elbow across the knee, coming into a little bit of a contact twist. Remember, you can always drop the back knee. But if that's your habit, try it this way, just for shaking things up a little bit. And after you've done about 5 breaths in total, let's inhale, release the twist. And then exhale, come back into your down dog, or maybe the prayer pose option is more realistic at this point in our practice. Take a breath in and out. On your next inhale, bring the left foot forward, and you're welcome to tuck the back toes under if you want to try the full experience. If you're using a chair, you can just bring your arm across and hold the twist, or you can hang on to the chair to give you extra balance stability. Some of us might be choosing to bring the hands to the heart and come into the rotated lunge. When you've done a total of 5 breaths, inhale, release the arms, open the heart. Exhale, big step up with the back foot, forward fold. Inhale, open the heart as you lift towards the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart. And we'll pause in mountain pose. If you felt that that was particularly intense for you this afternoon, no, seated mountain pose is always an option as well. Okay. Can I invite you to turn sideways on your mat? So we're facing the long edge of the mat. Take your feet quite wide apart and in a parallel position. So the principles of mountain pose apply here from the hips up to the top of the head. We're still maintaining as much symmetry as we can and as much ease as we can with breath and mobility in the joints. Then we're going to take this leg and rotate it just like we did in that very opening sequence where we externally rotated the leg, and then we're going to bend it. So exactly like we did in that earlier sequence. And now we're finishing with the knee over top of the ankle, pointing in the same direction as these toes. Now, if you feel like this significantly was compromised when you tried to do that motion, you may have to make some adjustments with this leg. This leg may need to come forward, or the knee might need to rotate in a little bit. All those things are available if this will help you bring mountain pose back to the upper body. Now we're going to flow a little bit with our breath. So let's just visit the postures first to make any adjustments and fine tune them. Then we'll start out with expanding the chest, just like we did in those lunges a moment ago. So you want to have a feeling that the arms start here. They don't start out here, that the arms start here. And the expansion out into the shoulders and the arms is from the heart energy. So opening out. And this gesture is a real gesture of faith, of trust, of like embracing whatever comes next without trying to control it or change it. So really celebrating this moment. And then when we're ready to inhale, we'll be dropping this hand lightly to this leg, turning this palm up, and thinking about taking this moment, lifting it up, and just drenching yourself with how beautiful and perfect this moment is. Really opening up this side of the body. And then when we exhale, we'll be coming back through the open-chested posture. And we're really going to try to keep that chest really open as we drop into a very light contact here between this arm and this leg, and swing this arm forward. Now this is a motion that we're making, again, from the heart, moving it out through the shoulder joint. So it's just like, oh, isn't that fun? Isn't that amazing that we can do that? And then we'll come back up to drenching ourselves with this beautiful energy of the moment. So this is inhaling, and this is exhaling. And it's not to get to a perfect posture that we're doing this. We're moving back and forth like this to really celebrate that our bodies can have this mobility, that we can feel the movements of the arms and the shoulders emanating directly from the gratitude in our hearts. When we've done a total of 5 breaths on this side, we can come back to standing in the center position. And just kind of drink that in for a minute. Take a breath in and out. And I don't know about you, but this has been a very busy class so far. And I haven't had a lot of time to think about all the things that aren't right with my life. I've been really thinking about how to move, how to breathe, which side we're going to do next. And I'm so involved with my life right now. So I hope you are really involved in this present moment and really able to celebrate the fact that here we are, we're doing yoga together and your body's amazing. So let's take this leg, rotate it so that the toes are facing the short edge of your mat. Make the adjustments that make sense over here. So when you come into the bent knee position, it still feels like it did on the ground. It still felt like it did when your legs were straight in mountain pose. And then let's just try the poses slowly first, and then we can get into the movements. So when you open the arms, it's not lifting from here. It's not hiking up the arm bones all by themselves. It's this heart energy. It's just expanding. It's just boom. It's just growing and blossoming. And your arms lift almost with no effort because there's just such an open and expansion in the chest and the energy of the chest. And then really love yourself as you drench yourself with this beautiful yogic energy on the inhales. And then when you go to reach into Parshva Konasana, it's not about getting your hand to a block or getting your hand to the floor. It's about the top shoulder actually today. It's about the chest. It's about how the heart energy is lifting and moving you. So let's do 5 breaths with the movements exactly coordinated to the breath. And be really in your body. Now, I kind of wanted to save time to do a nice extended relaxation this afternoon. I think we're earning that. So let's really give it our whole concentration for the last 2 breaths here. And I'll meet everybody back in the straight-legged position with the feet more or less parallel. For me, that means that the heels have to move out away from each other a little bit and the big toes almost have to go in a little bit. It feels pigeon-toed to me, but that is parallel feet. For my friends that have some difficulty or tension in forward folds, you might want to have a chair in front of you and just fold halfway so your head can rest on a chair. If my friends are particularly stiff with forward folds, maybe further apart with your feet makes sense. Inhale, and as you exhale, take yourself into the forward fold. You can start with halfway, see how that feels. And on your next exhale, go all the way. Option to go all the way down. Do the best you can to release the top of your head towards gravity. So either it's free falling towards the floor, or there's a block or stack of pillows or a chair seat receiving the weight of your head. Soften your jaw. Relax your tongue muscle. Ease up on the heavy breathing. Soften your eye muscles. Even let your hair follicles relax. And we'll just take 3 more nice, slow, relaxed breaths, feeling your relationship to the earth. So feeling the pull of gravity, helping to traction the spine a little bit here. And close your eyes if you like. Wonderful. And then we're going to make our way back down onto our backs where we began class today. I want to do a little bit of work in bridge pose. And if you have a blanket or a pillow, it would be wonderful if you could have something folded or a pillow in about this shape. So you can see that that's a little rectangle and it's, oh, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 inches deep. And this might be too much for some people. If you find that you get dizzy throwing your head back, a lot of people do, you might want to have a fold of towel or a lower pillow than this so it can go under the back of your neck. So I'm going to place this right kind of here in my mat. And the idea is this is going to go underneath my thoracic spine, behind my heart. I'm going to sit on the mat with nothing underneath me. Keep your knees bent, please. Come back onto your elbows and try to position the blanket right behind your lungs. And so that the tops of your shoulder blades and your whole arms are floating now. There's nothing underneath the tops of your shoulders. Now, if you find you need to lift your head a little bit, that's perfectly understandable. But I want, if we can, to be some free space where the shoulder blades are. They have lots of room to move around. And I find it's much safer on my back if I keep my knees bent. If you find this height, I've got about 3 inches of blanket here, is too much, just lift up, roll to your side, lift up, and flatten that out a little bit. Take one fold out of it or something. There we go. So you notice my elbows are bent. We're going to do a little bit of movement with our arms here. A little bit of heartfelt movement. So when you're ready, I would invite you now to extend your arms out as far as you can comfortably. Keep them close to the ground if that's possible. And then as you exhale, bring the hands back over and bathe yourself with this beautiful yogic energy. So inhale, arms close to the ground. I've got a lot of stuff in my room holding me back, but hopefully you have more open space. And then as you exhale, just really drench yourself with that lovely yogic energy. So the shoulder blades are able to dangle almost to the ground and wave around unimpeded as you're making these gestures with your arms. One of my teachers called shoulder blades like the wings of the heart. So as you're moving in this, feel that the movement of the arms once again emanates directly from the center of the chest, from that heart center, and that this is like your angel wings moving around. We'll just maybe take 2 more breaths here. And then you can let your arms rest wherever they're comfortable. Dangling them all the way to the ground might be too much for you. You might feel more comfortable with the elbows bent and hands up, or little pillows underneath you as armrests. We're only going to be here for about 2 or 3 deep, full breaths. So as best as you can, fill your lungs up to full capacity. And then exhale, bravely just release all of that air. And maybe try that a couple more times. The deepest breaths that you feel comfortable with, that you found so far in class today. Wonderful. Carefully roll off to your side. Let's remove the blanket out from underneath you temporarily and come back over to where we were. I don't know about you, but there's been some major renovations go on behind my heart. Another one of my teachers, the one I'm going to use her, Lilia Sfolin's smile meditation and during relaxation, she often talked about how behind the heart is where we store those grudges and those old hurts. So kind of a nice idea to think that we kind of breathed some of that away so we can have a deeper relationship with that energy. Let's place the feet quite carefully into the ground. We're going to come into bridge pose, I think, now. So you want to charge up bridge pose with your legs the way you charged up lunge pose with your legs today. We had a big emphasis on legs. So press your feet into the floor. Get that mechanism where you press the feet down and the muscles back here really kick in. You can even touch these muscles and feel how these muscles start to kick in as you go to lift your hips. This is the powerhouse. This is what makes this posture happen. So if all you do is this today for bridge pose, your heart will love you. But if you want a little bit more, start coming up and lift your hips as high as is easily comfortable, not a big strain. You really want to make sure that the low back stays unkinked. Now, because heart energy is kind of our focus today, we could start to wiggle the shoulder blades a bit more under the back than I often teach this. I'm in no way suggesting that you need to clasp your hands or, be all right on the tops of your shoulders or anything like that. But maybe today you want to bring the shoulder blades a little bit into a closer relationship behind the heart. Support and float the heart on the wings, on the scapulae, and let the heart float with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe 3 more breaths here. Gaze stays straight at the ceiling. Neck has a natural curve in it. The face is relaxed. Just supporting the heart with the shoulder blades. Good. And then gradually walk the shoulder blades away and let the back settle back into gravity. Nice, deep, safe relationship with gravity. Relax. I'd like to finish our active portion of class with a supine twist. I'm going to take a wide-legged one today. If you have a different version that you really like, then by all means. So I've taken my feet quite a bit wider than the mat. And as I exhale, I'm going to drop the legs towards this side. Let this leg completely relax to the floor. And this other leg probably won't make it all the way to the floor, but just imagine the knees really heavy. And imagine gravity is pulling on the kneecap of that top knee and releasing your leg towards the ground. Rather than, stacking your other foot on there or pulling it down or any of that other stuff, just let your gravity do the work. And then if you want to just take a little bit of attention back into this top hip, no matter what version of the twist that you're in, and just give a little love to this top buttock hip sort of area. Relax for 2 breaths more maybe. And then because we're so appreciative of our bodies and how they play with us on the yoga mat, let's be real sensitive to that it might feel better for you to take this leg and lift it up by itself. So the top leg lifts by itself. Then we bring the bottom leg up. It's just a way to show your body that you really care. And then when you exhale, you can go into the other side. So again, bringing awareness maybe to this top hip, appreciating the miracle of movement of that thigh bone in the big hip socket, and just relaxing into gravity. Couple more nice deep breaths. And then coming out of the twist, one leg at a time. And assessing for yourself, is there any other movement that you're craving? Something we left out today? Again, show your body that you really care by indulging your body in that movement. And then please make your way down into a relaxation position. So Shavasana is suggested. And using the pillows, the blankets, and the other kindnesses that you know will help you to feel more comfortable. We're going to take, maybe 10 minutes for relaxation today. Oh my God, can you believe we're actually going to take 10 minutes for relaxation? I must admit, as a yoga teacher, I often feel as though I have to keep things action-packed because people are paying me to teach. It's got to be entertaining the whole time. And it's a constant, no, that's not what you need to do. So this comes from a yoga teacher you may remember if you're of a certain age. She used to teach on PBS back in the 70s, and I did some training with her in the early 2000s. And this comes from her book, so Lilias Folin's Inner Smile Relaxation. So please come to your most comfortable supine position. Mentally give yourself permission to have the next 10 minutes with just you to focus on. All the other emergencies and crises will just have to wait. Make sure you're warm enough. We're getting to the time of year where the temperature varies greatly. Be as comfortable as you can and let your breath be as natural as you can. Sometimes if you're having a bit of trouble settling, we did have a very physically busy class today, you might want to just take a few more deep breaths. Often elongating and smoothing your exhales can help you settle. So please, now that you've settled into your Shavasana position, please bring your awareness to the inside of your mouth. You can move your tongue around a little bit if you like. And slide your tongue a bit closer to the front teeth, the upper front teeth. Feel the little lines and cares and worries begin to melt away. And allow yourself to daydream. Let an image of great beauty come to you. Perhaps it's the face of somebody you hold dear. Or I might imagine Natalie, my puppy. Let that smiling, sweet energy fill your mouth, softening your jaw, feeling the length of your lips. Let the corners of your lips turn up ever so slightly, enough to raise your cheek muscles and your little laugh lines. Now let's take your smiling energy like a beam of light up into your left eye and then your right eye. That smiling energy like a beam of light into the left ear and then into the right ear, into the left brain, and then the right brain. And then return the energy, that beam of light, to your mouth. Recharge your smile by recalling that image of great beauty. The corners of your lips turned up ever so slightly. And then smile down into your neck and your throat. Your neck is usually jammed with activity. And maybe you can imagine your smiling energy starting to liquidate that roadblock. Maybe tensions begin to melt away. Letting that smiling energy flow into your heart. The actual organ of your heart, a little left in the chest. Us yogis think the spiritual heart is the seat of compassion, of honest respect. So invite your smiling energy to fill your heart with joy. Let your smiling energy thank your heart for its constant work. And maybe you can imagine, or you actually feel, that your heart is moving with more ease since we've begun our relaxation. It really does deserve that. And now let's radiate this smiling and thankful energy from your heart and into your lungs. Thank your lungs for their wonderful work in supplying oxygen to every single cell in your body. Maybe your lungs soften under this wonderful warm light of attention. Imagine they become spongier and even more moist. And send the light of your smile deeply into your lungs. In many schools, such as Chinese medicine, they see the lungs as perhaps a place of sadness or depression. So just by visualizing that smiling beam of light, gratefulness from the heart into the lungs. And then take that beam of light down to the liver. The liver is just below your rib cage on the right side. The liver is a marvelous worker, digests and detoxifies. Let the liver soften and grow moist under your lovely mental hug. Smile again deep into your liver. Livers can be associated with holding on to anger or having a hot temper. So regardless of anything that's come before, right now, invite that smiling energy into the liver and know that the smiling energy is addressing anything that's residing there that shouldn't be there. Let the joyfulness and gratitude induce the warmth of kindness to flow. Kindness to yourself first and foremost. And then please smile your energy into your kidneys. They're behind you, just below your rib cage. Thank them for their work of filtering all those waste products, maintaining that ever important water balance in the body. Imagine the kidneys cool and fresh and clean. And as you smile deeper into your kidneys, see and feel if there's any fear there. That can be where we hold on to fears that are dormant. They're not necessary for you anymore. They're not relevant. So smile your warm thanks, grateful, kindly energy into the kidneys, and let those fears that you are no longer relevant melt away. Let gentleness, the nature of the kidneys is to be gentle, come out. Let gentleness come into all the other organs and bones, especially the immune system in the body. Now, if you have somewhere in your body that needs a little extra love today, smile into that discomfort or that uneasiness. It can be mental discomfort, doesn't have to be physical pain. And you can take some time now to smile into the parts of your body that don't feel well. You're allowed to have a conversation with these parts of your body. Express your caring. Maybe you visualize these parts of your body getting softer or more open or changing from dark to light. And then imagine all of these organs that we've been visiting and all of the other hardworking parts of your body smiling back at you. You're basking in the radiance of their gratitude and their love for you. Please return your awareness back to your mouth one last time. Recharge the smile with that image of great beauty and then shine the sunbeam up into your good friend, the brain. Your good friend, the brain, is smiling at you. And now just for a few breaths, let it all go. Let all technique dissolve and rest. There's a clear blue sky of awareness open to any one of us at any time. This moment is timeless. It has no boundary. It's come all on its own. If you have a little bit more time to spend with yourself this afternoon, then please do. Otherwise, I would love you to be very gentle with yourself as you awaken from your shavasana and prepare to continue on with your day. And then when you're ready, move to a seated position. And when you come to a seated position, we can bring our hands together at our hearts and celebrate our work together this afternoon by sharing the sound of Om. I'm inhaling now. Namaste. So I would love to stay and